The galaxy believed humanity was weak. That belief would cost them everything. No alarms were raised when the first human world went dark. No emergency council session. No debate. Just silence. Because to the Galactic Authority, humans were nothing more than a temporary problem already solved. They were wrong. The Council of Seven had ruled the Orion Arm for over 10,000 years. They called themselves caretakers of balance, but balance meant control. Every species was measured, tested, and judged. Those that grew too fast, questioned authority, or refused guidance were labeled unstable. And unstable species were erased. Humanity's crime was curiosity. Humans explored without permission. They spread without approval. They asked questions no elder race liked to answer. They refused to kneel. So the decision was simple. Containment. The strike came without warning. One moment Earth's skies were filled with clouds and satellites, the next they were burning. White beams tore through atmosphere and stone alike. Cities vanished in seconds. Oceans boiled. Mountains cracked. Billions died before they could even understand why. From orbit, the Council fleet watched the planet turn to ash. And then they left. They did not know that 12 human colony fleets were already far beyond Earth's reach, traveling between stars with families asleep in cryopods and hope packed into steel hulls. They did not know that humanity's story was not finished. Captain Elias Crow stood on the bridge of the colony ship Vanguard Reach when the signal arrived. It was broken, distorted, and soaked in panic. Voices screamed through static. A woman cried. A man begged. Then there was silence. Earth was gone. The bridge crew froze. Some stared at the screens. Others collapsed into their chairs. Crow said nothing at first. His hands tightened slowly against the railing. His brother had stayed behind. His parents too. Everyone he had ever known, except the crew around him, was dead. Across deep space, the same truth reached 11 other ships. Humanity had been murdered. The captains gathered through encrypted long-range communication, forming a circle of broken faces and burning eyes. No one spoke for several seconds. Then Captain Amora Solis broke the silence. "They think we're finished," she said quietly. "They think killing Earth killed us." Crow looked at the faces on the screen. Scientists. Engineers. Soldiers. Farmers. Children asleep behind reinforced doors, unaware that their homeworld no longer existed. "We don't scatter," Crow said. "We don't panic. We survive." That word changed everything. Survive. The fleets vanished into uncharted space. They shut down transmissions. They masked their drives. They became ghosts. Years passed. Humanity rebuilt in the dark. Hidden stations were carved into dead moons. Shipyards were assembled inside asteroid belts. Children grew up learning history that burned like fire in their blood. They learned science alongside tactics. Engineering alongside strategy. Every human understood one truth from a young age. The galaxy had decided they did not deserve to exist. Humanity disagreed. They studied the debris recovered from the attack. Alien weapons. Shield fragments. Drive cores. What the Council saw as perfect technology, humans saw as flawed design. Efficient, but predictable. Powerful, but rigid. Humans adapted. They created weapons that did not rely on brute force, but precision. Drives that bent space in ways alien physics had dismissed as impossible. Ships that could vanish from sensors entirely, not through cloaking, but by appearing as background noise. Most importantly, they learned how the Council thought. Order above life. Control above creativity. That would be their weakness. 23 years after Earth burned, the Council received a message. It appeared simultaneously on every major network, every military channel, every civilian relay across thousands of worlds. A single human voice spoke. "We remember." Then the feed cut. Minutes later, a Council fortress vanished. Not damaged. Not destroyed. Gone. No debris. No radiation. Just empty space where a symbol of authority had stood for centuries. Panic spread like wildfire. The council assembled in emergency session, confusion turning to fear as reports flooded in. Trade routes disrupted. Patrol fleets disappearing. Listening posts falling silent. "This is impossible," one ambassador hissed. "The humans were erased." "They were wounded," another replied softly. "Not erased." Then came the second transmission. This time, it showed a human ship drifting calmly in open space, weapons cold, shields down. One ship. Alone. The message was simple. "You came to our world without warning. Now we come to yours." The coordinates followed. The council had a choice. Ignore the challenge and appear weak, or respond with force and crush what remained of humanity. They chose force. The largest fleet ever assembled surged toward the coordinates. Thousands of warships. Millions of soldiers. Absolute confidence in overwhelming power. They expected desperation. They expected fear. They did not expect a trap built by a species that had nothing left to lose. As the Council Armada exited hyperspace, their sensors detected only one human vessel waiting near a dying star. Admiral Kaler narrowed his eyes. "One ship," he said. "After all this." Behind him, officers laughed nervously. But far away, hidden beyond detection, humanity watched. Captain Crow stood on the bridge of a vessel the Council could not see, surrounded by ships born from grief, anger, and relentless human innovation. He spoke calmly. "Let them come closer." The star began to change. And the galaxy was about to learn what happened when humanity finally unleashed its full power. The Council fleet advanced in perfect formation. Thousands of warships spread across the system like a steel tide, their shields glowing faintly as they locked weapons onto the single human vessel drifting near the dying red star. Admiral Kaler stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, confidence etched into every sharp movement. "One ship," he said again, slower this time. "They insult us." Sensor officers confirmed it again and again. No hidden fleets. No energy spikes. No distortions in space. Just one human ship, silent and waiting. "Open a channel," Kaler ordered. "If they wish to surrender, we will hear it before we erase them." The channel opened. Captain Elias Crow appeared on the screen. He wore a simple uniform. No symbols of rank beyond a small patch showing a broken circle, Earth. His face was calm, almost tired. "You crossed half the galaxy for one ship," Crow said. "That tells me you're afraid." A low growl rippled across the alien bridge. "We are not afraid of insects that survived by hiding," Kaler replied. "You were given mercy once. This ends now." Crow nodded slightly. "That's what you said about Earth." The channel cut. Kaler raised his hand. "Fire!" Thousands of weapons systems charged at once. Beams of energy, missile swarms, gravity lances, all aimed at the lone human vessel. They never landed. Space twisted. Not violently. Not visibly. Just enough. Every shot curved. Every missile drifted off course. The human ship remained untouched, floating as if reality itself bent around it. "What is happening?" Kaler snapped. Before anyone could answer, the dying red star pulsed. Once. Sensors screamed. The star's gravity surged outward in a controlled wave, ripping through the Council fleet. Shields overloaded. Ships spun out of formation. Smaller vessels collided. Larger ones struggled to stabilize. "This is impossible," an officer shouted. "That level of control, no known species can manipulate stellar mass like this." Hidden far beyond sensor range, humanity watched. The trap had begun. For 20 years, human scientists had studied stars, not as fuel or weapons, but as systems. Pressure, balance, feedback loops. They learned that even the smallest change, applied precisely, could tip something massive into chaos. They had not built a superweapon. They had built a key. Back on Kalis Bridge, panic spread as reports flooded in. Entire squadrons were lost without a single human shot fired. Navigation systems failed as space itself behaved unpredictably. Then the second phase activated. Human ships appeared. Not from hyperspace. They unfolded into existence, as if space had been peeled back to reveal them. Hundreds at first. Then thousands. Sleek, dark hulls marked with human symbols, names of lost cities, oceans, mountains. Earth remembered. Kayla felt something cold settle in his chest. "Return fire," he roared. The Council fleet responded with everything it had. And for the first time, it didn't matter. Human ships moved like thoughts. They did not charge. They did not retreat. They flowed. Weapons struck with terrifying accuracy, disabling engines, collapsing shield harmonics, severing command relays. Ships were left drifting, intact but helpless. Humans were not here to destroy. They were here to dismantle. On one Council cruiser, Commander Seelith watched as their engines shut down without warning. No explosion. No damage. Just silence. "They're cutting us apart," she whispered. "Piece by piece." Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human boarding teams moved through disabled ships, not killing indiscriminately, but capturing data, prisoners, technology. They were learning. In real time. Kayla slammed his fist against the command console. Regroup. Pull back to defensive formation. But the formation no longer existed. The Council had always relied on hierarchy. Orders flowed down. Control was centralized. Humans exploited that mercilessly. Every flagship disabled sent shockwaves of confusion through entire wings. Crow watched it unfold from his command chair. "Begin Phase 3, he said. The human fleet shifted. All weapons went dark. For a moment, the battlefield fell eerily quiet. Then a broadcast flooded every channel. Human faces appeared, millions of them, from soldiers to civilians, from children to elders. Behind them were images of Earth before the fire. Blue skies. Green forests. Laughing cities. A human woman spoke. "You erased our world," she said. "You thought that made you gods." Another voice followed. "We built families in the dark." Another. "We learned." Another. "We adapted." Crow appeared again, his voice steady. "You believed strength was control. That order meant obedience. You never understood us." The human fleet powered up again. This time, they targeted the star. Not to destroy it. To stabilize it. The red giant's violent pulses calmed. Gravity normalized. Space settled. The Council fleet suddenly found itself trapped. Hyperspace lanes collapsed. Jump drives failed. Every escape route sealed by physics itself. Kayla finally understood. "This system," he said slowly, horror creeping into his voice. "You chose it because you control it." Crow nodded once. "We chose it because you can't." The final phase began. Human ships transmitted a single message to every Council vessel. Surrender. No threats. No demands. Just one word. Some captains refused. They fired wildly. Their ships were disabled within seconds. Others hesitated. Then one Council cruiser powered down its weapons. Then another. Then hundreds. Fear spread faster than obedience ever had. Admiral Kayla stood frozen as his fleet collapsed, not in fire, but in silence. He opened a private channel. "What do you want?" he asked. Crow leaned forward. "We want you to remember," he said. "Every species you erased. Every world you burned. Because now, the galaxy knows you can bleed." The channel closed. Across the stars, oppressed species watched the impossible happen. The Council was losing. And humanity was just getting started. The silence after the battle was louder than any explosion. Across the trap system, thousands of Council ships floated powerless, their once proud formations broken into drifting fragments. Fires burned inside some hulls. Others were dark and intact, crews alive but shaken. The greatest military force the galaxy had ever known had been stopped without being annihilated. That alone terrified everyone watching. On worlds far from the battlefield, citizens gathered around public screens. Traders, miners, scholars, and soldiers stared at images they had never imagined seeing. The Council fleet, invincible for 10,000 years, had not been destroyed, but humiliated. That scared them more. Because destruction could be dismissed as luck or sacrifice. This was control. On the Council flagship, Admiral Kayla sat heavily in his command chair. Around him, officers whispered in low, frightened tones. Their systems were locked down by alien code that felt almost elegant. No brute force. No overloads. Just quiet dominance. They could have killed us, Kayla said softly. Why didn't they? No one answered. In the depths of the flagship's data core, a human signal waited patiently. Not hacking. Not forcing. Simply knocking. Kayla took a breath and gave the order. Allow limited access. The lights dimmed. Then stabilized. A single human figure appeared on the bridge. Not a hologram. A projection woven directly into their visual systems. Captain Elias Crow stood there, hands behind his back, posture calm. You're wondering why we didn't finish this, Crow said. Kayla met his eyes. You want us alive. We want you listening. Crow gestured, and the air filled with images. Worlds scorched by Council fleets. Cities erased. Species reduced to footnotes in ancient records. Children who never grew old. Cultures that vanished without a scream. You called it containment, Crow said. We call it murder. Kayla felt something he had not felt in centuries. Shame. You were afraid of chaos, Crow continued. Afraid of growth you couldn't control. So you froze the galaxy in your image. Safe. Ordered. Dead. The projection changed. Human cities rebuilding in secret. Children learning mathematics and combat side by side. Scientists arguing fiercely, then laughing together as new ideas emerged. Engineers failing 100 times before succeeding once. You don't understand us, Crow said. We don't fear chaos. We thrive in it. Kayla clenched his jaw. If you destroy the Council, the galaxy will fall into war. Crow shook his head. No. If we destroy you, the galaxy gets a choice. The signal ended. Across the system, human ships moved among disabled Council vessels. Medical teams treated wounded aliens. Engineers restored life support. Prisoners were fed, not executed. That confused everyone. On a distant world ruled under Council law, a young merchant named Taris watched the feeds in disbelief. His people paid crushing taxes. Travel was restricted. Education was censored. The Council said it was for stability. But humans were doing something unthinkable. They were winning, and showing mercy. Whispers spread. If the Council can be challenged. If humans can win. Maybe we don't have to obey forever. Within days, rebellion flared on 3 worlds. The Council tried to respond. They couldn't. Their fleets were trapped or crippled. Their authority fractured as ambassadors argued, blamed one another, and panicked. For the first time in recorded history, the Council did not speak with one voice. Some demanded total retaliation. Others begged for negotiation. The younger species on the Council watched silently, realizing something dangerous. The elders were afraid. On the human command ship Vanguard Reach, Crow stood with his senior officers. Tactical maps floated around them, showing not just fleets, but politics. Trade routes. Communication networks. Social unrest. Revolts are spreading faster than predicted, said Commander Lian Ju. They've lived under fear for so long, they just needed proof it could break. Crow nodded. We give them that proof, but carefully. We could push harder, another officer said. Strike more fleets. Crow shook his head. No. We don't become what they fear. We show them something better. Humanity sent another broadcast. This one went everywhere. "We are not here to rule," Crow said. "We are not here to replace the Council. We are here to end a system built on extinction." Images followed. Humans standing beside alien civilians. Shared medical stations. Open trade between species the Council had kept isolated. "For thousands of years, you were told safety required obedience," Crow continued. "That peace required silence. That survival required permission." His voice hardened. Humanity survived without permission. The message ended with coordinates. Not a battlefield. A neutral world. "Those who wish to speak freely," the message concluded, "meet us there." The Council panicked. "If we attend, we legitimize them," one ambassador argued. "If we don't, we look weak," another replied. They attended. On the neutral world, representatives from dozens of species gathered, some openly, some in secret. Humans arrived without warships, without threats. Just people. They listened. Species told stories they had never been allowed to tell. Of restricted growth. Of suppressed technology. Of children taken for re-education. Of worlds that disappeared for asking questions. Human delegates did not interrupt. They remembered. The galaxy began to shift. But not everyone accepted it. In the shadows, remnants of the Council plotted. Fanatics who believed order must be preserved at any cost. They gathered hidden fleets, ancient weapons, forbidden technology. If humanity wanted to change the galaxy, they would burn it first. Crow received the intelligence report and closed his eyes. "They're going to try to wipe us out," Leon said. Crow looked up, calm and resolute. "Then they've learned nothing." He turned toward the stars, where countless species now watched humanity not as prey, but as possibility. "Prepare the fleets," he said. "This time, we don't just defend ourselves." The human ships powered up across hidden systems. The next battle would not decide who ruled the galaxy. It would decide what kind of galaxy survived. The warning came too late. Hidden fleets emerged from dead systems and forgotten nebulae, ships older than many civilizations, armed with weapons the Council had banned even from itself. These were not fleets meant to conquer. They were built to erase. Fanatics called themselves the Preservation Wing. Former admirals. Intelligence chiefs. Architects of extinction who believed the galaxy needed a single guiding hand, or none at all. If the Council fell, they would burn everything. The first strike hit a neutral world where humans and aliens had gathered to talk instead of fight. No warning. No message. A sudden flash of light tore through the upper atmosphere, collapsing cities and shattering orbital platforms. Millions died in minutes. Crow watched the feed in silence as smoke filled the sky of a world that had dared to hope. "They chose terror," Commander Lian Ju said quietly. Crow's voice was steady, but something dark burned beneath it. "No. They chose extinction." Human fleets launched instantly, not in rage, but precision. Every move had been planned years before. Humanity had learned that survival was not about reaction, but preparation. The Preservation Wing expected panic. They found resistance. Human ships intercepted the attacking fleet before it could escape, but the enemy did not retreat. They activated self-destruct charges, detonating antimatter causing suicide attacks that tore through space itself. Several human ships vanished in white fire. On the bridge of the Vanguard Reach, Crow closed his eyes as casualty reports scrolled past. Names. Faces. People who had survived Earth, only to die protecting a fragile future. "We hold," he said. "No matter the cost." Across the battlefield, something unexpected happened. Alien ships joined them. Small at first. Patrol craft. Old freighters retrofitted with weapons. Species that had lived under Council control for generations made a choice. They stood with humanity. A Morathai cruiser interposed itself between a human medical ship and an incoming strike, shields flaring until they collapsed. The cruiser broke apart moments later, but the medical ship survived. "They're protecting us," a sensor officer whispered. Crow nodded. "Because we protected them first." The battle spread across multiple systems as the Preservation Wing revealed its true plan. They targeted infrastructure, starside relays, food worlds, population centers. If they could not rule the galaxy, they would leave nothing behind. Humanity responded not with indiscriminate fire, but coordination. Human engineers rerouted power grids on alien worlds mid-battle. Doctors treated wounded aliens while explosions rocked the hulls. Human soldiers fought alongside species they had only met weeks earlier. Trust formed under fire. On one shattered moon, a human strike team was pinned down by heavy enemy fire. Their shields were failing. Ammunition was low. Then the ground shook. A massive alien warbeast, engineered long ago by the Council and abandoned, charged into the enemy line, ridden by warriors who had broken every law the Council imposed on them. For the first time in their history, they fought for something they chose. The Preservation Wing did not understand this. They had built their entire doctrine on fear and control. They could not comprehend loyalty earned instead of enforced. That misunderstanding cost them everything. Crow authorized the final countermeasure. Release the archive. Across human space, data vaults opened. Records humanity had collected over decades. Council crimes, erased species, falsified histories, were transmitted galaxy-wide. Truth spread faster than any fleet. Council worlds erupted in protest. Soldiers refused orders. Entire sectors declared independence overnight. The Preservation Wing found itself hunted not just by humans, but by the galaxy it claimed to protect. Cornered, the Wing launched its final weapon. A stellar cascade device. It would destabilize multiple stars at once, triggering chain reactions that could wipe out entire regions of space. Billions would die. Not to win, but to deny victory to anyone else. Crow understood immediately. Evacuate everything within range, he ordered. All ships. All worlds. But the device, Lian began. I know, Crow said. I'll handle it. A single human ship detached from the fleet. The Vanguard Reach. Captain, Lian said, voice shaking. You can't. Crow smiled faintly. I can. He transmitted one final message to every allied ship. Humanity was born on a fragile world, he said. We learned early that survival means sacrifice. Today, we choose what kind of galaxy survives with us. The Vanguard Reach accelerated toward the Cascade device, slipping through defenses that no longer mattered. Crow guided the ship manually, overriding safeties, pushing systems far beyond design limits. Inside the device's core, gravity twisted violently. Crow activated humanity's final gift. A stabilization matrix built from everything they had learned, alien physics, human creativity, impossible mathematics. It wouldn't destroy the device. It would absorb it. The explosion never came. Instead, space folded inward, collapsing the cascade into a harmless singularity that winked out of existence seconds later. The Vanguard Reach did not escape. Silence followed. Across the galaxy, ships powered down. Weapons went cold. Species waited, breath held, as news spread. The Preservation Wing was gone. So was Elias Crow. Human fleets withdrew from battle positions and focused on rescue, relief, and rebuilding. Mourning spread through every allied world. Humans cried openly. Aliens lowered banners in respect. Crow had not died conquering the galaxy. He had saved it. On dozens of worlds, statues were raised, not of a human ruler, but of a human standing among aliens, unarmed, looking toward the stars. The Council, what remained of it, formally dissolved days later. Its era ended not in fire, but in disgrace. Humanity did not take its place. Instead, something new began. But the galaxy was about to learn one final lesson. Freedom was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning. The galaxy did not celebrate at first. It mourned. Across hundreds of worlds, silence replaced fear. Ships remained docked. Markets stayed closed. Flags, human and alien alike, were lowered in quiet respect. Elias Crow's name was spoken in many languages, some without words for sacrifice, others without words for unity. New ones were invented. Humanity grieved deeply. They had won, but victory had never been the goal. Survival had been. Meaning had been. And Crow had given both, at a cost no one could repay. Yet the galaxy did not fall apart. It changed. Without the Council's iron grip, systems once frozen by control began to breathe. Trade routes reopened without permission. Research once forbidden flourished. Species met not as subjects, but as equals, often awkwardly, sometimes painfully, but always freely. Humanity did not lead with force. They led with structure. A new assembly formed, not a council of rulers, but a forum of voices. No single species held veto power. No fleet enforced obedience. Decisions were slow, loud, messy, and real. Humans were uncomfortable with perfection. They trusted debate more than silence. That alone reshaped everything. Children born on alien worlds learned human mathematics alongside their own histories. Human schools taught alien philosophy. Mixed crews explored regions once locked behind council borders. Not every interaction was peaceful. There were arguments, conflicts, even small wars. But never again extermination. Never again containment. On the rebuilt world of Ashara, once bombed by the Preservation Wing, humans and aliens worked side by side to raise a city from glass and steel. At its center stood no palace, no monument to power. Only a garden. Soil from Earth was mixed with soil from dozens of worlds. Plants grew that had never existed before, roots intertwined, impossible and alive. A human child asked an elder alien why they did not build a statue of Elias Crow there. The alien thought for a long moment. Because he didn't want to be remembered as a ruler, the elder said. He wanted to be remembered as a warning. The child frowned. A warning to who? To anyone who believes life must be controlled to be safe. Years passed. Humanity spread again, not in secret this time, but openly. Their ships carried no symbols of dominance. Only one shared mark, a broken circle, no longer meaning loss, but continuity. Earth was never rebuilt. Its ashes remained untouched, preserved as a silent witness drifting around its dead sun. Human ships passed it often. They did not land. They did not forget. They remembered. On the anniversary of the battle, representatives from across the galaxy gathered near the system where the Council fleet had fallen. Not for war, but remembrance. A single human voice spoke, broadcast to every corner of known space. We were not special because we were strong, the voice said. We became strong because we refused to disappear. Images followed, Earth before the fire, humanity in exile, the hidden years, the battle, the sacrifice. We were not chosen to save the galaxy, the voice continued. We chose to stand when it mattered. The broadcast ended with a simple message. No species should ever decide another has no right to exist. Far beyond known space, old listening arrays, long forgotten by the Council, picked up something new. Signals not of war, but curiosity. Other civilizations had been watching. Waiting. Humanity answered. Carefully. With humility earned through loss. The galaxy had once believed humans were too emotional, too chaotic, too dangerous to be allowed freedom. In the end, that chaos became adaptability. That emotion became empathy. That danger became resolve. And so the lesson spread beyond borders and stars. You can erase worlds. You can burn skies. You can kill billions. But if a species remembers who it is, and why it fights, you can never truly erase it. Humanity did not conquer the galaxy. They changed it. And long after the last Council record faded into dust, long after the stars themselves began to dim, one truth remained written across history in 1,000 languages. The day humanity was marked for extinction was the day the galaxy made its greatest mistake.